Hey, what's going on folks? This is Cloud Cyber. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to use the Salesforce Migration Kit. In case you have not checked out what the tool is, please click on the link provided on the description. This will take you to the site where you can download it. So without any further ado, let's proceed. This tool is built on top of the Force.com migration tool. It provides an option on your context menu, which is the menu that appears when you right-click your mouse. This leads to an inner menu that provides options to retrieve, deploy or migrate your metadata. Retrieve is to retrieve your metadata from an org. Deploy is to deploy the metadata into an org or orgs, depending on your choice. And migrate is a retrieve and a deploy combined, with minor differences. All you need to work with this tool is a package.xml that describes your set of metadata. If you have used Eclipse or the Force.com migration tool before, then you should be familiar with the package.xml. If you are not, then just Google it or go through the Trailhead modules. You'll get familiar with it soon. Before you proceed with installation of this tool, you'll need to ensure two things. Number one, you have to be an admin user or a user with admin privileges. And number two, make sure you have the Apache Ant and the Force.com migration tool installed, because this tool is based on top of it. After you install them, click on Start, type cmd. This will open the command line. Type ant, which means ant. If you see an output like this, that it means that you have successfully installed them and you are ready for installation of this tool. Go to the link provided in the description and open it in a browser. You will see this page. This is the GitHub repository of the tool. If you want it as a repository to use, then click on clone or download. But for now, we will simply download the file. Scroll down to the Readme section, right over here. Click on this link. The zip file should get downloaded into your system. Open it up in a folder. Now copy your downloaded zip file into the location of your choice. Create a folder in that location and unzip the contents of the zip file. For my case, I have created a folder called SF Migration Kit, and I have unzipped all the contents of the zip file into this particular folder, and it looks like this. The Ant-contrib file is a set of tasks created for the Apache Ant. This tool uses the tasks present in that file, so we need to download this file. Copy the link present in the description and open it in a new browser tab. The page looks like this. Download the jar file, not the POM file. Once the jar file is downloaded, copy this file. Head over to your installation folder where you have unzipped the migration kit, which is here in my case. I'm going to go to the bin folder and paste the downloaded jar file over here. The contents of the bin folder now looks like this. Alright, we are all set for installation. Now go out of the bin folder to the main directory where you have unzipped the kit. Right click on install.bat file present here and click on Run as Administrator. A dialog box opens and click on Yes. Now a terminal window opens and it will ask you whether you want to install for all users. Choose the option you want. For my case, I have selected N because I do not want to install for all users. Now it should show this message, installation completed. It means you have successfully installed the tool. Close the window or press any key to exit. Now right click to see the context menu. See if the SF migration menu appears. If so, then you have successfully installed the SF Migration Kit. Next, we need to configure the orgs into our kit. Go to the folder where our kit's files are present. Go to the orgs folder. You will see an orgs.csv file there. This tool reads all org details from this file. Now open it in an editor of your choice. Here I am opening it using MS Excel. This file has 4 columns: the org name, the org username, the org password, and the org URL. Give any name to your org. If it's a development org, give the name as dev, QA, or any name of your choice. Just make sure that your string should not contain any spaces in between. Username has to be the org username. Password has to be with your the org password. Note that if your org requires a security token, then attach the same to your password, just like you do in data loader. Org URL corresponds to the URL where you use to log into the org. For a sandbox, this is test.salesforce.com. For a production or a developer org, this will be login.salesforce.com. For the sake of this demo, I have added two orgs, demo 1 and demo 2. The orgs.csv now looks like this. Save the file and exit. In case you are working in a corporate network which is under a firewall, then you will most likely access the internet using a proxy server. In this case, you will need to configure the proxy details into this tool. If this is not required for you, then you can skip this section. Go to the bin folder, open the build.xml file. Check the proxy target element over here. You can see there are 4 properties: proxy.host, proxy.port, proxy.username, and proxy.password. Proxy.host is the address of the proxy server, something like proxy.company.com or an IP address. Proxy.port is the port number, usually something like 8080. Proxy.username and proxy.password are the credentials you use to access the internet in your corporate network. Usually these are the same as the credentials you use to log in into your network. If you do not have these details with you, please check with your IT team. Once you save the values into the properties, then uncomment the setProxy element over here. Save the file and exit. Alright, now that we have installed the tool and configured our orgs, it's time to show you how to use this tool. We will start with retrieve. For this demo, I have created this package.xml. Let me show you the contents of this file. This package contains one custom object, demo object 1 underscore c. This custom object contains two fields, demo checkbox 1 underscore c and demo text 1 underscore c. Now this object has a trigger, demo object 1 trigger. This triggers calls handling logic from this class, demo object 1 trigger handler. This handler class has its own test class, demo object 1 trigger handler underscore test. Now this is a very simple package that I've created in demo1 org. So I'm not going to go into the details of its implementation. Now to retrieve the data from the demo1 org, I will simply right click, go to SF Migration and click on Retrieve. The window opens and you will find two options, whether to backup or to retrieve. Now these two options are essentially the same, that is, they retrieve metadata. But the difference lies in the fact that backup creates a folder in this current folder and retrieves all the metadata into that new folder. Let me show it to you. Here in the screen, I press 2 and press enter. The next screen asks me to choose the org I want to retrieve from. I choose demo1 because that's the org where I have created the metadata. This screen now shows the retrieval operation from the demo1 org. What it does is that it creates a folder with this name containing the backup name, the org name and the timestamp of retrieval. Note that the time element of the timestamp is separated by semicolons instead of colons. The reason for this is that Windows folder names do not accept colon as a character. Hence, I had to use semicolons here. The retrieve is successful and I can press any key to close the window. Now, a typical use case for this option is during deployment. For example, you want to create a backup of the destination org where you are deploying your metadata, so that in case a catastrophe occurs after your deployment, you can redeploy the backup as a rollback. Now that we are clear with the backup option, it's time we went for the other option, retrieve. I right click again, go to SF Migration and choose retrieve. This time, since I'm retrieving, I'm pressing 1. Since I'm retrieving from the demo1 org, hence I press 1 again. Now the retrieve happens directly into the current folder, which has the package.xml. The retrieve is a success, so I press a key to close the window. Now we can see that the metadata has been retrieved into this folder. We have the two classes. We have the object. Okay, the object and the fields are combined into a single file, and we have the trigger. For the sake of this demo, I have used the same folder where I have retrieved my metadata. I am going to deploy this metadata to the demo2 org. I right click, go to SF Migration and choose deploy. It now asks me whether I want to validate or deploy. As a part of the base practice that I follow, I prefer to validate my metadata before doing an actual deployment. So I press 1. Now I choose to validate on demo2 org because that's where I plan to deploy to. So I press 2. It asks whether we have any specific tests to run for our deployment. For now, I choose N because I don't want to use any specific test classes. We will get to deployments with specific tests later in this video. It now shows the confirm screen. It presents us with the details that we have entered and asks us if all the parameters entered are right. If so, we need to press Y. If not, we can press any key and will be taken back to the main menu for deployment. Now we see that all the parameters that we have entered are right. We are validating on a demo2 org, and we have not specified any test classes. Hence, now I will press Y. We see that the validation process has begun. Validation is a success. Now we press any key to exit. The window closes. So we have successfully validated our metadata. Now I want to proceed with deployment. I right click again. I go to SF Migration, click on deploy. This time I choose deploy, hence I press 2 and enter. I choose demo 2, so I press 2 again. Since we do not have any specific test classes, I enter N and press the enter key. The confirm screen appears. We are deploying to the demo2 org and we have not mentioned any specific tests. So since everything is correct, we are all set for deployment. I press Y and press the enter key. The deployment screen is shown now. The deployment is a success. Now we press any key to exit. So folks, that's how we deploy using the tool with just a few key presses. Next, we migrate metadata. A migrate is basically a retrieve and a deploy combined into a single operation. For this demo, we are using the same package XML used previously, and we are going to perform migration from demo 1 to demo 2. I right click on my mouse, go to SF Migration, click on Migrate. The terminal window opens as before. It asks me which org I need to retrieve from, or in other words, the source org. I choose demo 1 and press 1. Next, it asks me which org I am deploying to, or rather, the destination org. I choose demo 2, hence I press 2. It asks me whether I want to validate the migration or deploy directly. As always, I prefer to validate my migration, hence I press 1. It then asks whether we need to run specific tests. I choose N for now. Now you see the retrieval has started. The kit retrieves the metadata from demo 1. As you can see, the validation is successful. Hence we are all set for deployment. We now repeat the same process we did in our validation previously. Right click, SF Migration, click Migrate. We select the source as demo 1. We select the destination as demo 2. Since we are deploying this time, hence I press 2. I'm not choosing any specific test classes, hence I am pressing N. Now it's retrieving the metadata from demo 1. This time, before proceeding with deployment, it's asking whether or not to take a backup of the destination metadata. I discussed this scenario before when we were discussing retrieval, that a typical scenario of a backup is when you want to backup the metadata that is present in the destination org before you proceed with deployment. So this scenario applies here. So in this case I choose Y. So it's backing up the existing metadata that is present in the destination org. which in our case is demo 2. Backup is complete. Now it's proceeding with deployment. And deployment is successful. You see, in addition to the metadata folders, we have a backup folder from the destination org, which in our case is demo 2. This is the backup folder which has been retrieved from demo 2, so that in case a catastrophe occurs due to a deployment, you can just go into this folder and right click SF Migration, deploy, and choose to deploy in demo 2 as a rollback mechanism. With the SF Migration Kit, you can even deploy to or backup for multiple orgs. What you need to do is, instead of entering a single org number and pressing enter, you'll need to type the org numbers separated by spaces. Let me show it to you. We are using the same metadata again used previously. Now I want to deploy this metadata to both demo 1 as well as demo 2. So I right click, choose SF Migration and select deploy. I'm gonna deploy directly this time, so I choose 2. Now in the org selection screen, I'll need to specify the orgs. Since I'm deploying to both demo 1 and demo 2, I'll type 1 space 2, meaning demo 1 and demo 2. Now I press enter. No specific tests to run, so I'm just going to press N. Now we are in the confirm screen. It says I want to deploy to the following orgs: demo 1 and demo 2, and no specific tests. This information is correct, and so I type Y and press enter. It starts deploying to demo 1. So this tool deploys to all the orgs that you have entered one after another. Demo 1 succeeded. Now it's deploying on demo 2, which is also a success. In case of a failure during deployment to demo 1, it will simply give the error and will continue to deploy to demo 2. It's not going to stop that. Now a typical use case for this will be, for example, when you have refactored some code, or you have created a framework like a trigger framework, for example, and you want to deploy this to all the orgs present in your project. Then you can use this method. Okay. Note, however, that you can only backup from or deploy to multiple orgs. You can't retrieve or migrate using multiple orgs. Now I'm going to take a backup from demo 1 and demo 2. I'm going to go to SF Migration, go to retrieve. This time I'm choosing backup, and I'm choosing backup from demo 1 and demo 2. So it's backing up from demo 1. Backup from demo 1 is a success. Next it's backing up from demo 2. Which is also a success. Now you see 2 backup folders has been created, from demo 1 and from demo 2. And now to the final part of the video. All the while during our demos we opted not to use the specific tests. Now is the time to use them. We are going to deploy the same metadata to demo 1 and demo 2 like we did previously, but this time we are going to run specific test classes. For this, what you need to do is to create a file called run.tests. Let us do so. So I'm right clicking and creating a new text document. I'm going to change the name of this file to run.test. Say yes. Open this in an editor of your choice. Now add the test class names separated by semicolons. So in our case, we only have a single test class to run. So I'm going to copy the test class name, come back to my editor and paste it here. I will end it with a semicolon. Now in your case, if you have more test classes, then add their names separated by semicolons. For example, if you have a test class called test_abc, then add it like this. So this is the first test class, and this is the test class that you might have, and this should be the format of run.tests. All the test class names need to be entered in a single row. Okay, I'm saving this file and I'm closing the editor. Now I'll be deploying this metadata to both demo 1 and demo 2. I go to SF Migration, click on deploy. I'm going to opt for deploy. Demo 1, demo 2, test classes specified, yes. The confirmation gives us that we are deploying to the orgs below, demo 1 and demo 2, and this time you can see that the test classes specified is yes. So we'll press Y to proceed. And deployment is a success for both the orgs. That's all you need to do. So folks, we have come to the end of this tutorial. I really hope that it will help you as much as it helped me out. Please leave a comment on the video below, or if you liked or disliked this tool, or if you have any suggestions. This is Cloud Cyborg, and have a great day. Thank you.